Veterans Day. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. Good morning, guys.
Good morning and happy Veterans Day to everyone out there and to all the men and women that have served and all the men and women that's continuing to serve and protect this country. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
We do thank all who have served and are serving this country. We still have our problems in this great country, but thankfully we do have you, and we appreciate that.
I actually get to see my cousin today. She's stationed in Hawaii. She's in the Navy, and I haven't seen her in months, so it's a really special day for me as well, and I'm so proud of what she does. And just to everyone, thank you so much for everything you do for our country, keeping us safe. And I believe only appropriate to start by talking about the Cowboys today. Some are already speculating whether Trevor Lawrence could end up in Dallas. During a radio interview, Jerry Jones was asked what he thought about Dallas taking a quarterback if they were to land the #1 overall pick in the 2021 draft. Jerry said the whole idea was crazy and, quote, it's not the thing to be talking about at all. Dak is our quarterback. So, Shannon, if hypothetically the Cowboys wound up with the #1 pick, do you really believe, Jerry, that he would not use it on a quarterback?
Well, Jerry, I mean, you say it would be crazy. We think it's crazy that you haven't already signed Dak, and so you probably wouldn't be in this position, and people wouldn't be constantly asking you, Jerry, if you got the #1 pick or you got a top 2 pick, because everybody believes, Skip, is going to be those 2 quarterbacks, Lawrence and Justin Fields out of Ohio State, going 1-2 in the draft. We wouldn't have to ask these questions, but because you don't have Dak signed, because Dak is coming off a broken ankle, people are going to continue to ask these questions until Dak is under contract for an extended period of time. Now, Skip, for me, the way I look at it, the only way Jerry would not take, if he had, let's just say for the sake of argument, he had Patrick Mahomes, he had a Deshaun Watson, he had an Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't have one of those guys.
But would anybody even ask this question?
Right, exactly.
It would be absurd to ask
Exactly.
Yes.
And because basically since his freshman year, Trevor Lawrence has been universally regarded. When he comes out, he's going to be the #1 pick. Skip, they said that.
Maybe since his junior year in high school.
Right.
Didn't he win back-to-back Georgia State championships?
He did.
He was the National High School Player of the Year.
Right, and they have the same. Georgia is also where Justin Fields went to high school last, Skip, so he beat him in that situation.
And by the way, Trevor Lawrence is 6 feet 6 inches tall, and he can run. I think he'd probably time like 4.6 maybe.
Ask Ohio State, can he run on that long touchdown run that he got? So, Skip, for me, I believe they have greater needs. I believe Dak, because you're asking a guy, so because Jerry Jones believes that he's assimilated enough talent to go get to and contend for a Super Bowl. So you're going to ask a rookie to come in and says, okay, now lead us to the promised land, do something that Dak could not do. If it was me and I had a top 1, top 2 pick, I'm not so sure, Skip, I wouldn't take the big tackle out of Oregon, Sword. Now, a lot of people are saying he might be the best prospect since Orlando Pace.
Would you take him #1 overall with those? There are actually 4 quarterbacks sitting there that could go boom, 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 boom right behind you.
But you know what I might be willing to do? I might be willing to trade. I got it. I can give me 3 #1s for this one. So if I get the #1 pick, Skip, I'm going to trade because the offensive line is starting to get old, Skip.
Yep.
They're not the same. You see the injuries are starting to come with greater regularity to Tyron Smith. Zach Martin is getting on up there in age, although he's still playing at an elite level. Lyle Collins had hip surgery. But, Skip, I would trade. For me personally, I would trade the pick and accumulate more picks because I believe that's where they need to go, especially on the defensive side of the football. You look like you're set at wide receiver, Skip. Would you trade those picks and maybe take a running back? Is there any running back rated that high that you would take a running back? I don't think so, Skip, but I would load up on the defensive side of the football because that seems to be where I'm lacking. So I'm going to take Jerry at his word and says, no, he wouldn't take a quarterback. But until Dak gets under contract, Skip, for an extended period of time, I don't really trust Jerry.
Okay. Let's first take a hard look at what Jerry said. He's on his own radio gig that he does every week. And the interviewer basically softballs him because he says, wouldn't it be crazy if, so it's a leading question.
Right.
Well, yes, it would be crazy for me to even think about this. Dak is our quarterback.
Right.
What else is Jerry going to say at this point in time?
Right.
Dak is their quarterback. And frankly, deep down, bottom of my heart, I hope that's correct.
Right.
The problem, as you suggest, is that what did your grandfather or maybe your grandmother say about I can see better than I hear?
I see better than I hear.
Correct?
Yes.
What do your eyes tell you? Your eyes tell you that we went months and months. We went a whole year with Jerry saying no to Dak Prescott.
Right.
Jerry Jones, whose reputation has been historically to overpay his stars. Every one of them. I can go all the way back to Emmitt Smith if you want to, even though they had a clash for a while, he finally gave in and gave him his money. This was the first time Jerry Jones drew a line in the sand and said no to Dak Prescott. That's too rich for even my blood, said Jerry Jones.
Correct.
If you and your new agent, Todd France, want north of $40 million a year, if you went up in the Deshaun, it hadn't happened yet, but in the Deshaun range, or even, dare I say, the Patrick Mahomes range, neither had happened quite yet. But we could all see what was coming. And Todd France, the new agent, is saying, we went up there in the Mahomes. We went up closer to 45-ish a year. And we went only 4 years, and you're saying every contract you do is for 5 years so he can keep you under lock and key, right? Jerry said no. And Dak and his agent said, okay, we say no. And it got pretty ugly. According to Yahoo Sports, it got do not invite them ugly, where they quit speaking to each other.
Because there's reported, Skip, from the time that they said no, from September until what, April, there was no conversation.
No conversation. So Jerry is basically telling you, I like my quarterback. I don't love my quarterback. I don't love him at any cost. To me, I kept telling you that I'm trying to be objective about a quarterback I have loved and defended since his rookie year in 2016. But I can go top 10-ish. I can go 10, maybe 9, somewhere in there. But I can't argue that he's better than Patrick Mahomes or Deshaun Watson or Aaron Rodgers. I can't do it. Not yet, because he's 1 and 2 in the postseason. Okay, so why did Jerry dig in? What do the numbers tell us about Dak Prescott? Well, in his last 17 starts as a Dallas Cowboy, he's 6-11 as a starter. Is that all his fault? Well, obviously not. They've had big defensive issues. They've had running the ball issues. But in the end, if you're the quarterback of that team, that record is going to stick right on your forehead like an L, because it says 6-11. And after he got off to that rip-roaring hot start last year, not this year, but last year, against what Shannon Sharpe called garbage teams, New York Giants, Washington, Miami. Dak struggled, and he went 5-8, and Pro Football Focus ranked him over the last 13 games only the 15th best quarterback, so he was average. And Shannon Sharpe, the Hall of Famer sitting across from me in those games, 7 times gave Dak Prescott an F for his performance. And I will remind the Cowboy faithful of what they were at New Orleans, Green Bay at home when they fell behind 31 to 3. At Jets, a woeful loss, 24-22. At New England, 13-9, only 9. Buffalo at home on Thanksgiving, a complete annihilation and humiliation. At Chicago, I don't even want to think about how bad it was on that Thursday night. And then all the marbles on the line at Philadelphia, it was 17 to only 9 points. That was Dak's year last year. And that's why Jerry, to me, just said, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I don't trust it going forward. Then what do we see early this year? Just to make sure everybody's on board with what happened. Well, I thought Dak played very well in the opener. I thought they got a horrendous bad call on the push-off from Michael Gallup on Jalen Ramsey late, but he played well enough, I thought, to win that game. And then here we went. They came home. They're behind 29-10 to the Atlanta Falcons at halftime.
39-20.
Okay.
At one point.
39-20. Okay. It was a miraculous